Welcome to the Tiger TV podcast, where two high school students talk about various topics. I'm Landon Barlow, and today I'm here with Arveen Tomasini. Arveen, how are you?
I'm pretty good today. Had to wake up a little bit early, but everything else is fine. What about you?
I'm doing pretty good, Arveen. Uh, Today we're going to be talking about COVID during school,
Yep.
and we're in these topics. We're going to talk about hybrid schooling, the rules that we had to do while we were in school, schooling in general when it comes to this, and then we're going to get off to how the day went with block schedules and other classes.
Yep. I mean, I don't really know about you, but for me, the COVID schooling has been kind of a mess. I mean, it's
Definitely, yeah.
it's just kind of. I mean, I do give like a little bit of slack because this has obviously never happened before, but I mean, we'll talk a little bit about this later. But the whole summer and the few months that we had in school online, like the end of last first quarter last year,
Yeah.
they had like all that time to plan, and I don't see where all those months went. Like it's just
Yeah.
I don't
We'll
know.
definitely talk about that later on during our schooling section and how we don't, on our opinions on how the district went about that.
Right.
I would like to know some of your thoughts on COVID rules, though. How did you feel on uh, the rules that we had to do during school? Obviously, let's not get political.
Yeah. So I think the rules in principle were a good idea. I mean, wear mask everywhere and social distancing. That's like all pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, but it just feels like the school didn't implement it very well. I mean, the mask thing is obviously really easy. You just you go to school, wear a mask, it's
Yeah,
whatever.
you gotta wear a
You don't wear a
mask
mask, you
and
don't go to school.
keep that stuff.
Yeah, so the social distancing was just not in effect. Like, sometimes, I mean, me personally, I know some people aren't as uncomfortable with, like, being close to other people
Yeah.
as I am. But for me, it's in class sometimes like in one of I only had two classes in school. Just a little preface here, but in the one class where we actually had to sit on desks, like we were not like 6 feet apart. We were just like one desk in between us, and there was a lot of collaborating between the two students who were sitting next to each other, and it's just kind of uncomfortable um, for me because like you're just so close to somebody when the school explicitly says, "Oh yeah, no, like you can't be close to each other. You got to social distance." Blah blah blah. You know, obviously there's this certain amount of social distancing they can enforce. Like for example, the passing period.
Yeah.
You can't.
You can't really enforce anything in there because everyone's going to different locations.
Exactly.
It'd be difficult to do that. There's definitely ways they could. Other schools around the country did. And I definitely get you when you're talking about in the classroom, there's a lot of classrooms who just don't enforce it. One of my classes, we were sitting at spots in the room and we had to social distance. And while we were in the room, it's one of the bigger rooms in the school, we social distanced. But to get our instruments that were in the hallway or in a different room, we had to be next to each other because they just weren't big enough.
Right. Like the room.
Like the rooms that the instruments were in, they
Right.
just weren't big enough.
Yeah, and it's like things like that, like little things like that. I know some people are like, oh, it doesn't really make much of a difference. You're like in there for a few seconds, but
Yeah.
like it's just like the aesthetic, I guess.
Well, it may not make a difference, or it might. We don't really know,
Exactly.
and it's hard to do that, especially when there's people who it makes them uncomfortable to do that.
Exactly, and I think like, but that's like a really easy fix, you know?
Yeah.
You just go in turns. Like
Yeah.
it's not that hard, but
Or
it's
even
just
in the hallway, they could have fixed it with specific lines that you had to follow social distance, but
yeah.
there wasn't the planning there. They just didn't plan that.
For me, the most uncomfortable one was even though I only had 2 classes in school, I had to stay for lunch,
Hmm.
and so obviously lunch, um, you have to like you can't wear a mask while
While
eating,
eating. Yeah.
obviously, but people were still. It was just so uncomfortable to see that many people all together not wearing a mask.
Yeah. They did this social distancing thing where they had only two kids at a table and they had to sit diagonally,
Yeah,
but in between the tables, they weren't far apart.
yeah, and for me, I was in the gym, um, and in the gym, it's you know they try and get you 6 feet apart away from everybody, and you are. I'll give them props. They are relatively far apart. Everyone is. So, but it's just like there's so many people, and it's just kind of uncomfortable. And the fact that for me, who didn't even eat lunch at school, I had to still go to lunch
Yeah.
and sit with those people not wearing a mask. Which I mean, it's not their fault. They can't eat while wearing a mask.
Yeah.
But it's like I would ask my teacher. I'm like, oh, can I please like stay in the class? And she's like, no, you have to go to the lunchroom. So it's just little
Yeah.
things like that.
The mask thing also made me uncomfortable sometimes because in one of my classes, there was people who just didn't respect it,
Hmm.
and they'd come to school and they'd take off their masks and do Snapchat or TikTok.
Oh.
Like even if the teacher got on them, there wasn't much they could do if the people just wouldn't listen. If they
Yeah.
just go into a different room and do it anyways.
Yeah. For me, the worst example for me was this teacher, and she wanted to take a picture of the class. And so she was like, "Oh yeah, can you just drop your mask for a second so I can take a picture of you guys as a class?" And I was like flabbergasted. I was like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not gonna take off
No,
my mask. I'm not gonna take off my mask. What do you mean?"
I'm here to learn, not for social media.
Yeah, it's. I mean, one, I don't. I mean, I can understand why she would want to take a picture, but like, I don't understand why she wouldn't want the picture. Because if I were that teacher, I would want it with the mask. So I
Yeah.
remember, oh yeah, these were the
This was
COVID
the
kids.
COVID year, and
Yeah,
on top of that, if you have it with the mask, you won't get in trouble.
exactly. I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous.
And this kind of does bring us into our next topic about just the schooling in general. And to start off with that, we're going to have some teacher examples. You said one about the teacher just wanting to take a picture and then
Yeah.
told you guys to drop the mask.
So, so I've had a few examples of bad teaching, especially on the online portion, because it comes off as like the teacher's not caring.
Yeah.
I don't know. What about you?
I had some of those same type of things where the teachers just didn't care as much and kind of just didn't really want to do this stuff. So I had some of those examples as well. I had stuff like where the teacher just didn't respect the COVID rules and we were supposed to wait outside the classroom for all the air to refresh, and then we just went inside the classroom anyways, and she kind of invited us in. Like, she went in way early. We were supposed to wait for 10 minutes, and she went in after 2 or 3, and then would tell us to come in and start getting ready for class. And that was just a moment where I was like, but aren't we supposed to wait for this to be finished? And then I also had some of those where it's online where the teacher just didn't respect personal home life. Like, they'd tell us to unmute or turn our cameras on.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst. Oh my gosh, when they
And,
force
yeah.
you to turn your cameras on.
And
I
then there was
hate
this
that.
new rule at Blue Valley that just came out that was telling us, that says that we have to have our cameras on during the whole class.
Oh my
And
goodness.
we have to be in a public space in the house. I live in a daycare. I'm also the middle child of 2 other students. And if we all were to do that, me and my older brother, because my younger brother still goes to school, we'd be sitting in the living room or in the dining room, and our classes would be able to hear or see each other whenever we unmuted. On top of that, when we unmuted, there's a likely chance that we would hear a kid screaming about having just gone poop.
Yeah, I
live
mean,
in a daycare.
I just think the rules are a little bit weird, especially the having to turn your camera on. That one is ridiculous. I mean, I understand why you want the camera
Yeah,
on so you see the students there, but if they're not students not there, then it's their fault. They're not learning. It's the same as not coming to
yeah.
school, just kind of absent or something.
You
Because what
miss the test. You miss the
Yeah,
test.
what one of my teachers does, she makes you so you can have your camera off during the class, but you have to turn it on like once so she can take attendance, and then you can turn your camera back off,
Yeah,
and that's better.
that's better. And I think the biggest thing is just them trying to force us to be in an open area of the house,
Yeah,
just
no,
because
I think
then
that's
it
really
can
dumb.
interfere with your parents' jobs. Like my dad works for a bank,
Hmm.
so if I were to do that, I'd be interfering with his meetings every single day.
Yeah, see, my parents are always on meetings. They're always talking to other people. Like if I go downstairs, I have to be really quiet because she's in a meeting with like 10 people, or like people from India or something in the morning,
Yeah,
and it's just not what's the word? I'm sounding really dumb here,
okay,
but
it's not
whatever.
like a
They
not
just they just
respectful.
don't they just don't know, or they
Yeah,
don't bother to try and find out what it's like at home.
yeah, and then there's the argument on that of just wear headphones. My argument back is, can you buy me headphones?
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
have
Yeah, like not
headphones.
everyone has headphones. I mean, we were really lucky, and I don't really want to give the school credit, but whatever, I will. That we
Yeah,
got the computers like about a
yeah,
year before we had to do online school.
and that we were still able to get them during the summer and stuff. Like I got my computer during the summer because mine decided that the screen didn't want to work,
Oh, yeah,
and so
yeah,
they
yeah,
they were able to get me another computer safely, and we're lucky that that was able to happen. But at the same time, they try to make these rules that they can't provide the stuff for.
yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, I just think
Yeah,
what they're doing is kind of bad, and the worst part is okay. Here's what I really dislike, and I have like a few teachers like that. I think I have two or three where the only learning that you do in their class is by videos they made, which is that's fine.
yeah.
That's fine because
I think
it's a
that's
virtual
better
class.
than just extreme amounts of homework.
Yeah, but they make you stay in their class for the full period,
Oh,
even though like all the learning you do is from videos. It doesn't make any sense. I just do not
yeah.
understand it. It's like a waste of time. You're literally wasting my time. Oh my
And
goodness.
especially with stuff like I have anxiety, so being in the Zoom, especially when I'm listening to something like music that I have to have when I'm working
Hmm.
or just watching the videos, I have anxiety that they're able to hear what I'm playing.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
or that I'm unmuted or my
I know.
video's
I
on.
know what you
And
mean.
I'm always going back to check the Zoom, so I can't do that.
So when I go in Zooms, normally throughout the day, I'll be in like Discord with one of my friends, and we'll be talking or whatever during the school, whatever, while we're
Yeah.
muted. So I was in one of my classes, and I was in a Discord call too,
Yeah.
and the other guy was silent, so I kind of just forgot he was there
Hmm.
because he was working, and then but he could hear my Zoom, right? Because I
Oh,
was unmuted in the Discord, and so I unmuted myself to say, "Oh yeah, can I leave now?" And then he chimes in as soon as I unmute. He's
oh
like,
no.
"Oh yeah, I really hate this teacher's voice."
Oh
And
no.
I was the only one unmuted. So I was like, "Oh no, I really like your
Yeah.
voice, Miss Neal." And I'm like, and it was so awkward because she was like, "Arveen, did you say that? Was that you?" I'm like, no, 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 no,
No,
it
no,
wasn't
no,
me, it
no.
wasn't me. Um, but I
And
was just like, it's
yeah.
a really awkward situation.
And
Um,
then on top of that, you're talking about like that homeschooling when we're in Zoom, and we both were doing, I guess, hybrid when hybrid was in school.
yeah.
So we were both online and in person during every day basically,
Hmm.
or I guess you were every other day.
Every other day for me, yeah, yeah.
And so with the online schooling, you're talking about just being in class and how you were able to talk to other people through other Zooms or through Discord.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of students do that in different ways. How do you think that that is affecting learning?
So yeah, here's the thing. I'm a little bit guilty of this. Um, so when I'm in Discord, it's usually like I only like talk to two people
Yeah,
on Discord. Because some may say I only have two friends, but whatever. Um, but
you
anyways,
can't prove anything.
yeah. But anyways, I think so. There are definitely people who wanted to do the in school because they wanted to be able to talk to your friends.
Yeah,
I wasn't one of those persons because I was like, I don't have like so many friends that I need to like be in school or whatever. But
yeah,
and also, there's too many people in school, too many people, whatever. I don't want to talk to that many people. But
yeah,
anyways, but when you're like, for example, when I'm in the Discord call with my friend, I get so much less done than if I were to just be alone,
yeah,
and I think that is a detriment. But it's like a self discipline thing. Like usually if I have work to do, he'll be like, I want to get in the Discord call. I'm like, no, I can't. I got work. I don't focus.
yeah.
So it's kind of like a self discipline thing. But not everyone has self discipline.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of the opposite because I don't have much self discipline.
Mm,
Just that works on top of my ADHD that I can't give myself much self discipline. So I get distracted with one thing and then my brain's like, I don't want to go back to working. So if I'm on a call with my friends, which I've only done a couple times, I'm able to get more work done because I know that I like to keep them in check, like
hmm
because they want to be kept in check, so they ask me to keep them in check. So I keep them in check, which keeps me in check in turn. But lately, I haven't been able to do that because of
Right.
COVID stuff and problems with my friends. So we just haven't done that often, and I've gotten super far behind in homework.
Oh.
So I know for me, it's kind of the other way around, but I
Mhm.
definitely get what you're saying.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So you mentioned you like to listen to music. I know. For me, I've started to listen to music more when I work because I used to be one of those people. I was like, um, I can't focus like when
Yeah.
I'm listening to other stuff. But now, I kind of need it because it helps me do stuff. What music do you listen to? Like,
I made this big long playlist a couple of years ago that I just keep adding to, and I just hit shuffle play on it,
mm,
and I find a song that I'm enjoying at that moment, and I kind of just go with it.
yeah, so my friend recommended to me a bunch of neoclassical stuff
Ah,
to listen
yes.
to when I'm working. So I actually started to really like it, not just to when I'm working, but I sometimes listen to it like when I'm not even working because I just think it's good music. And then he also put together a playlist of actual classical stuff that I listen to
Yeah.
every once in a while. But that one is a little bit more like upbeat. So if I really need to like lock in, then I don't listen to that. Um, I just listen to the neoclassical stuff because that's a little
Yeah.
bit softer. But
Little softer and has some other stuff in it that is meant to help you
yeah, yeah. I
focus.
mean, there's one of the playlists I listen to is literally called "Intense Studying," and it's like made by Spotify. So you know,
Nice.
um,
Uh,
you were in school, right? In the fourth quarter
in the fourth quarter,
of last year.
I was in school in the third quarter, and then I got sick. I
Oh,
think from COVID
maybe. Yeah.
right before spring break.
Okay.
So I didn't actually get to pick up most of my supplies for school. And
Oh.
then we did get put into quarantine after that. So I didn't go to school afterward. But I did suffer a lot when it came to homework and other things in that fourth quarter just because there was a lot more stress that was in my life.
Right.
And in that, it kind of just was bad. It just didn't work very well. And neither did the beginning of this year because I don't think they planned out the school
Mhm.
system too well when it came to online homework or online schooling and in-person schooling and stuff like that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I can forgive them a little bit more for the fourth semester last year
Yeah,
because it's like on the fly,
fourth
whatever.
semester definitely they kind of just had to go with it.
I mean, it really helped me that none of the stuff was like for a grade, so I just like didn't do a lot of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I still had a lot of pressure. Like I was like, Dad, I don't need to get an A in the class because I already have an A third semester, so it's gonna carry over fourth semester no matter what grade I get. He's like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, A only. So I was like, okay, whatever. But there was no finals, so that was nice. But the Zooms were kind of like, I mean, obviously the teachers didn't really know what to do, but it was really funny because they would just be like, so how was your day? Let's all talk about what we're doing now, how our day was, blah blah blah. I mean,
Yeah.
it was fun. I will admit, it was pretty fun. I like that. I mean, I would rather have that over now with me because we have a whole bunch of homework and stuff now. But speaking of that homework,
Homework is
I feel like
way too much.
I know. I feel like the teachers are like, "Oh, you're home now. Let me give you more homework. Here you
Yeah.
go. Here's like 5 hours
I
homework."
feel like they think that since we're home, we have more time.
Yeah.
And the only extra time that I would say that we have would be the travel distance. And for most of us, like me, who I live like 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
So the travel
I'm pretty
distance
similar.
is nothing.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. My mom's house is really close.
I mean, maybe still while people have an extra 20 minutes in the day.
Yeah, I think
If they drove themselves.
it could also be because we're a little bit behind in the curriculum because we started the school year late.
Yeah.
But
We're also ending late, though. So.
yeah, yeah.
And
I
we're
mean,
losing a lot of our breaks because of that.
yeah. It's a shame about the breaks, although I do understand it. I understand
Yeah.
you got to take away.
They're
still
trying
take a
to
break.
get us to get out somewhat on time.
A little bit of a So I was talking to my friends about this. This is a little bit of off topic, but I was talking to my friends about this, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I would rather winter break be the longer break over summer break." And they were like, "What are you talking about?" Because me personally,
I get that. Yeah.
me personally, I like winter more because I like it when it's colder. But because I hate summer, man. I hate summer. But
I think
anyway.
a lot of that is just because a lot more opens in the summer.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, people are going to the pool. So for me, the video quality made by the students, or not the students, by the teachers rather, they're a little bit mixed for me. The quality, but what about you? Like, I don't know.
For me, the quality's pretty good on some of the videos. Depends on who's making them. Like one of my teachers, she for some reason is just really good at making the videos. She has the slideshows ready. She makes the videos as if she was teaching to the class, and she personally designs each of the assignments so that they would fit the students. They're designed so that a student who has trouble doing the homework can do it, but a student who's really good at homework and liked the previous one will still like this. And so those videos are really good, but then there's other videos that are made by other teachers that we have to watch that are just not as good because they don't try to teach it as if they were in class. They're just reading the presentation.
Yeah, for me, okay, so one of my teachers, he makes good videos, but the problem is that every class he assigns like 4 videos and they're like 20 minutes. I'm like, no, I don't want to watch 4 videos of you. I like you, you're a good teacher. I don't want to watch you for like an hour and a half. But
because that's not why I'm in online school.
Exactly. But the main problem comes with my math teacher where so he has 4th hour in school, right? Sorry?
Calling someone out, are you?
Oh, I'm not gonna say. All I'll say is he doesn't teach at this school because I do. It's virtual math. So he teaches at North. So I'll let you make that what you will. But so he has the first hour in school, right?
Yeah.
So that means he has the hour and a half for that class period. But his 5th hour, which is me, is virtual. So it's already bad enough that he makes a video and then makes us go in class for like 30 minutes before we watch the video, so waste of time. But the worst part is that all he does, or all he did when he was in school, was record his screen while he taught his in-person class. No. And then he does the same thing in the online, and the videos are like an hour and a half long.
No.
It's ridiculous. I remember the first time I looked at the video length, I was like, I just stared at it for about 30 minutes. I was like, what?
Bro,
What is this?
I would email the teacher and just say, hey, what?
Yeah, so when we went to online, I was kind of hopeful. Like after the break, after the
Yeah.
Thanksgiving break, I was kind of hopeful. I was like, oh, maybe you know, he'll just actually make actual videos now. And then I asked him, I was like, so are you like gonna make actual videos now, or are you just gonna record yourself again? He's like, no, it'll be kind of the same. And my heart just dropped. I was like, no,
No. Come on.
why?
Yeah. Uh, so that's kind of talking about the at-home schooling in general. On that, we should talk a little bit more about in-person as well. I know neither of us had too much in-person, but we both had stuff on the in-person about the A and B schedule.
Yeah. So, well, the A and B schedule was kind of for for online too. So it's not just like in person, but um, yeah, I actually really like the block
Yeah.
because for me, because I have a conflict during second hour, so I have an in-school class second hour, but I also have an online class which is only second hour, which I don't know why they would only have one class period for that online class, but
Yeah.
so I can't go to that online class. I can't go to my AP Lang class because I have the in-school class. So I have a third hour. I have no class
Yeah.
whatsoever. And so it's just so nice because on every odd day, I have like from 8:30 to 11:30, I just have nothing and I can just kind of do whatever I
Yeah.
want.
And same
Now,
with me. Like my fifth hour is completely open, and I use that more of a study hall
mhm.
because I just don't have anything else to put there.
Now, in theory, I use it as a study hall, but in actuality, that's not always the case.
Yeah.
But I normally, it's really nice to have that period to kind of work, take a
Yeah.
break. Normally, I do like I finish some assignments because my first hour is AP U.S. History A push, and that class gives a ton of homework. Like she's like, okay, I'm gonna have you do notes on the chapter, which takes like an hour and a half or 2 hours. And I'm gonna have you do this document review questions, and that's like an hour. And I'm gonna do one more assignment and watch these videos. And I'm like, woman, we have only like 24 hours in the day, and 8 of those I'm sleeping. But the education board wants you to sleep 2 hours. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's pretty ridiculous.
So yeah, odd and even
Do
was
you like it?
definitely
Do you
weird.
prefer the odd and even?
I prefer the odd and even just because I'm able to focus on each class a little bit more than trying to
Mm-hmm.
focus on I have this due next hour.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the odd and even I definitely liked, and then the A and B schedule being in person and not. I think that just kind of had to happen.
Oh right, the A and B is the
Who's
letters,
in
not
person, yeah.
the odd and even. Okay, I got that mixed up.
And that one was that one was weird just because they didn't in the elementary school when they did the hybrid they had A and B days except for Wednesday was always no one at school
Mm-hmm.
for cleaning, and I think that could have been done better. I think not just for the cleaning aspect, but also for the fact that none of the weeks were the same. We didn't have a
Yeah,
single week that was the same.
yeah. I don't know. I think the A and B. I can. So for the letters, I
Yeah,
think that's great. Yeah.
for
So
A
I can.
through L or whatever it
Yeah,
was.
yeah. I can
Through Z.
see what they were trying to do,
Yeah,
but it definitely helped. It definitely helped. The hallways were definitely not as
they
crowded.
were better.
It was better, but it's like saying like 0 times anything is still 0. So,
Yeah,
but I kind of give him props. Is a little bit better. I mean, should the whole year have, or should the whole first semester have been online? Maybe. I mean, you can definitely make the argument. I think.
I think it depends on what you feel of the levels of COVID.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see why they would have felt pressure to do in school, and I can. I don't get me wrong. I understand why people would want to do in school, like
Yeah,
because a lot of people who have a lot of friends and they want to talk to their friends every day and stuff like that. Like
or
I get
even
that.
like me, how I did online schooling for most of it, but I just procrastinated because they didn't hold you to anything.
Yeah, and you get those people. I understand that, but I think for purely safety, maybe they should have done like online. Maybe I'm a little bit because for me, like staying at home all day and kind of just being alone. That sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds great to me. I know, but for some people they like hate that, like because I
Yeah.
know some people really struggled during the break with like not being able to see their
And I think
friends
that
and mental health and stuff
that
like
goes
that.
into introverts and extroverts a lot.
Yeah, but I think with introverts and extroverts, I think everyone's a little bit kind of.
A little bit.
It's like on a spectrum,
Yeah.
and you're
I don't
kind of
think there's many people who are very like fully introverted or
yeah,
fully extroverted.
yeah, definitely.
Uh, and then there's the weird block schedule that we had of orange and blue days.
Orange and blue. I didn't even understand that. Like most of my teachers said, "Oh, I asked. I'm not going to do that. You're just going to meet with me every day,
Yeah.
anyways." But one of my teachers actually does that. Well, he used to do like the orange and blue until like a few weeks ago, but
Oh
then
gosh, and we only had to do it for like 2 weeks.
yeah, and then he just went. Okay, you're gonna have to look on Canvas like before the class and see if we're going on Zoom or not.
Yeah.
Um,
So that was definitely a weird one, and I think most teachers, including mine, still do the 45-minute periods for each class.
yeah, virtually that's what you have to do
Yeah.
because in case there's a conflict or
And
whatever.
like the conflicts and stuff, which is I think what they were trying to do with the orange and blue. But
Yeah, but it just didn't work.
yeah, I think that covered a lot of what we had to go through this year and
Definitely.
what all the other kids had to go through. I think it definitely helps that we both got to see pretty much all of the spectrum of being in school, being hybrid, and being just at home.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps when you're trying to make an argument that you should be in school, you shouldn't be in school, whatever.
To
I mean,
have the unbiased opinion.
yeah, it all comes down to like whether like the argument whether we should or not be in school all comes down to like what you think of COVID
Yeah,
is.
I think that's more of a personal opinion rather than something that we can definitively say.
Yeah, and the online schooling, I really had a problem. Like that's my main opinion. I really have a problem with them having so long to plan this first semester, and it just ended up like this. Especially at the beginning.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning, where like I was emailing my counselors every day, like because everything was just so confusing. There wasn't any emails written until like the day before school started to explain what was going on.
Yeah.
But
And they just didn't plan it out with all the time they had.
yeah.
But speaking of time that people had, we're out of time here. So
Yep.
we're going to end it off here. I'd like to let you all know that this is the Tiger TV podcast. Tune back in whenever we make another one.
Yeah, whenever that happens.
And I'm Landon Barlow. This is Arveen. And goodbye.